Imagine the opening scene, the aftermath of the epic battle with Thanos. Amidst the ruins and the exhausted heroes, Tony Stark lies, battered out but miraculously alive. This scene transitions into flashbacks of those crucial moments that led to his survival. Perhaps his armor, enhanced with vibranium, absorbed the worst of the Infinity Gauntlet's energy. The initial reactions of the Avengers are a mix of relief, disbelief, and profound gratitude. This setup highlights Tony's resilience and sets the stage for a new chapter in his life, Tony's new role. In this last section of the movie, Tony begins to get better and is faced with a new world. It's his time to claim his rewards after fighting all of his life, and he wants to mold the future generation of warriors. He mentors Peter Parker to teach him about his suit and strategies and provide life advice. He imparts some fatherly advice to Thor. They have a good 2 shots about leadership and responsibilities. When it comes to Bruce Banner, Tony comes up with advanced technological solutions where he explores the scientific possibilities to their extremity for the sake of humanity. It is considerable that Tony's presence affects their paths to the deepest level by leading them with his great experience and knowledge. This new job is somewhat a transition of Tony from the fighting hero to a guide and a planner. He withdraws himself from the more active strategy to train others and to be certain the tradition of the hero will continue. In this manner, these heroes not only acquire knowledge on the ways on how to get what they want, but are also taught about the notions of ethics and duties. Tony's knowledge is cultivated and stored for the new generation to learn from and help them learn how to competently work through the difficulties standing before them as the new breed of superheroes. Formation of the Young Avengers. The existence of Tony does not end here. Moving people is not enough. He sees the need for a new team. He selects young heroes and seeing potential in them equips them with advanced technology and spiritual guidance. He has the privilege to train the up and coming young heroes such as Kate Bishop, Kamala Khan, and other characters. There are several occasions throughout the play that demonstrate where Tony does not only educate the kids but also offers them values and moral lessons. Making the Young Avengers is a strong motion. Behind them is Tony to make sure that they are ready for the rough time. The role of collecting and orienting this new team is also traceable in him revealing the realization that the world requires a new generation of heroes to address increasing threats. Tony's approach is more of the hardcore training type, but with the addition of instilling the feeling of responsibility and ethics in the employees. Alongside, the Young Avengers also develop on the field of fighting and become worthy defenders of the values that Tony and his friends are fighting for. This new team stands for a new beginning, for the spirit of endurance is continued from under Tony's guidance. Global impacts and challenges. Tony Stark's impact would go well beyond the Avengers. His talent and wealth would be used to improve global technology and create international collaboration. Tony might address the United Nations and propose breakthrough sustainable energy projects, such as broad adoption of his arc reactor technology, which has the potential to abolish the world's dependency on fossil fuels. He would advocate for the advancement of medical technology using his biotechnology expertise to press for solutions for ailments such as cancer and neurological problems. Tony's intense interest in global security would lead him to advocate for the development of new defense technologies capable of eliminating potential threats ranging from renegade nations to alien peril. However, such ambitious attempts would not be without considerable hurdles. Tony would face various ethical quandaries, including the possibility of his technology being exploited or falling into the wrong hands. The issue over monitoring versus privacy would heat up as he developed more advanced AI and protection systems. Stark Industries would have to balance innovation with the unforeseen effects of strong technology. These obstacles would test Tony's willpower as well as his ability to make tough choices for the greater good. This global viewpoint would portray Tony not just as a superhero but also as a visionary leader dedicated to making the world a safer and more sophisticated place. Climax and resolution. The story would build up to a high-stakes battle, either against a tough new enemy or an unparalleled global calamity. This climax would put Tony's mentoring talents to the test, as well as the Young Avengers' unity and ability. Consider a situation in which Tony's strategic brilliance and the youthful hero's distinct abilities combine in a desperate struggle to rescue mankind. This might be a big danger that demands all of Tony's resourcefulness and his protege's raw ability. The outcome of this clash would strengthen Tony's lasting legacy. It would demonstrate that his instruction and training had sufficiently prepared the next generation to assume the role of Earth's guardians. The effective passing of the torch would set the way for his future trials, with Tony's influence serving as a guiding factor for the new heroes. The episode would end on a thoughtful note, showcasing Tony's evolution from a self-centered millionaire to a selfless mentor and leader. The continued growth of both the Avengers and the Young Avengers would be highlighted, hinting at future conflicts and Tony Stark's long-term effect on the Marvel Universe. His legacy would be solid, instilling hope and bravery in the heroes he mentored while also guaranteeing that his visionary efforts continue to influence a better future. Now, let's speculate on how the MCU would have been different if Tony had survived the snap. If Tony had survived, then Iron Man 4 would seem like a logical step. This movie could either open Phase 4 or serve as its climax. The plot could revolve around Tony fully recovering due to his vibranium-enhanced armor, which absorbed the worst of the Gauntlet's energy. Back to his Iron Man ways, Tony would face new challenges. Perhaps his advanced technology falls into the wrong hands, leading to a new storyline where he must deal with the consequences of his innovations. Villains like Crimson Dynamo or Titanium Man could emerge, forcing Tony to confront the reality that his technology is too powerful to remain unchecked. This movie could culminate in Tony realizing that his true role lies not in wearing the suit, but in guiding and protecting from behind the scenes. The film could end with Tony becoming the director of S.H.I.E.L.D, opening a new chapter for his character. Tony Stark as the director of S.H.I.E.L.D would solve several narrative problems. It would allow him to remain a significant figure in the MCU without overshadowing other heroes. This new role would be a perfect fit for his skills and personality. He'd have the authority and resources to implement his vision for global security while working within a structured environment that keeps his more reckless tendencies in check. This position would also create interesting dynamics, especially when interacting with other key characters like Nick Fury, Captain Marvel, and new heroes joining the MCU. Tony's survival would profoundly affect those around him, especially Spider-Man. Tony and Peter Parker mentor-mentee relationship was one of the MCU's most heartfelt elements. If Tony were alive, Spider-Man Far From Home would have a different tone. Peter's journey to becoming his own hero wouldn't change, but Tony's presence would add layers to the story. Perhaps Tony would play a minimal role, stepping back to allow Peter to grow independently, while offering subtle guidance. This dynamic could further push Tony towards a realization that his place is not on the battlefield, but in a leadership role, guiding the next generation from the sidelines. Tony's survival could lead to the formation of the Illuminati, a secret group of the world's top minds, including characters like Reed Richards, Doctor Strange, and Professor X. This group would work behind the scenes to tackle threats too big for the Avengers. Additionally, Tony's survival opens the door to exploring the superior Iron Man, an evil alternate version of Tony from another universe. This character could be introduced in films like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, or even the future Secret Wars storyline, providing a compelling contrast to the Tony we know and love. Tony's survival would also impact Phase 4 movies. For instance, in Black Widow, Tony could make a cameo, paying homage to his connection with Natasha. In Shang-Chi and the Legends of the Ten Rings, Tony's history with the Ten Rings organization and the Mandarin could be explored, potentially involving him in the storyline. The Eternals' revelation about Earth being an egg for a Celestial would undoubtedly catch Tony's attention, leading him to collaborate with Nick Fury on a protective strategy, perhaps involving the Sword Station in space. In Spider-Man No Way Home, Tony Stark's survival would introduce new layers of complexity to the storyline. Tony's influence on Peter Parker is profound, and the revelation of Peter's identity could severely impact Tony's reputation and security measures. If Peter decides to erase everyone's memories, including Tony's, to protect his mentor's legacy, it would underscore the profound sacrifices heroes must take for the greater good. This decision would be heart-wrenching, highlighting Peter's growth and the deep bond between him and Tony. Tony Stark's presence in lighter, more comedic projects like She-Hulk could offer a refreshing take on his character. Imagine a courtroom drama where Tony faces a lawsuit from a disgruntled Stark Industries employee. Such a scenario would provide not only humour, but also a critical look at Tony's flaws as a boss, showing his humanity and the challenges of running a powerful corporation. This setting would allow for a blend of wit and insight, exploring the often overlooked aspects of Tony's life outside of his Iron Man persona. The relationship between Tony Stark and Sam Wilson's Captain America would be compelling to explore, especially with Tony potentially serving as the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Working closely with the new Captain America, Tony would likely face ideological clashes similar to those that he experienced with Steve Rogers. These interactions could become a central theme in Captain America New World Order, providing a fresh perspective on leadership and heroism. The dynamic between Tony and Sam could highlight differing approaches to justice and the responsibilities of carrying on the legacies of the heroes past. In the comics, Riri Williams, aka Ironheart, is mentored by Tony Stark. His survival would allow this relationship to be explored in the MCU, providing Riri with a mentor who understands the burden of being a tech-based hero. This could also create dramatic tension if Peter Parker, having lost Tony's mentorship, sees Tony take on a new protege. Future storylines. Tony's survival opens up numerous possibilities for future storylines, whether it's him making more questionable decisions that inadvertently aid future villains like Doctor Doom, or dealing with multiversal threats like Kang the Conqueror. Tony's presence would add depth and complexity to the MCU's evolving narrative. In conclusion, while the MCU has moved past Tony Stark being the central figure, imagining a world where he would survive and open up a wealth of intriguing possibilities. His mentorship, leadership, and the potential for making more iconic decisions would continue to shape the Marvel Universe in profound ways. Whether it's guiding new heroes, confronting new threats, or simply being the genius billionaire playboy philanthropist we all love, Tony Stark's legacy would endure, making the MCU an even richer and more dynamic world.